Welcome to Inside Voice, your behind the scenes take on the $150 billion home care industry. Here, it's not about the loudest voices or even polished headlines. It's about real stories, real challenges, and real insights from those shaping care every day. Join us as we cut through the noise, explore trends, and uncover what it takes to truly make a difference of the lives of those we care about. Inside Voice. Imagine starting a business in an industry you know nothing about, funded entirely by credit cards. Today's guest was at a crossroads, deciding whether to throw in the towel or lean in. He chose to lean in. Today, he's running a $2.3 million home care business. Owner of Preferred Care at Home of South Broward, Geoff de Sousa. Mama. De Sousa. What's up, dude? Welcome to the Inside Voice.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, excited to have you on. I know you were listening to the show, and I said, I'd love to have you on. And you're like, I would like to tell my story of my journey in home care because it's unconventional, but I don't think it's unconventional. I think there's a lot of people that can relate with your story, and I'm super excited to be a part of you sharing it with the Preferred Care at Home family and just the greater home care industry.
Yeah.
So before we dive in, though, tell me a little about yourself. Who is Geoff de Sousa?
Oh boy. 33 years old. I've got two little ones at home with my wife. 2 years, about almost 2.5 years old, and then just turned 1 year old. So
Exciting.
yes, very busy. Always something to do. Very little sleep. So that's how it goes.
Let's go. Home care doesn't sleep, so it's perfect.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's very on brand. Yeah. Having kids on brand with home care.
Yeah. That's awesome. Give me a fun fact. Something that, like, we're friends. I've known you before you started in care, senior care. Something that I wouldn't even know.
Oh boy, something you would not even know. Man, that's gonna be tough. You know a lot about me.
Okay, maybe something I know the common listener wouldn't know.
Oh, okay. I am missing technically 7 teeth.
Wow.
And I have 2 fake ones right in the front.
That's right. And it's like a party trick every time you go out to eat dinner, you pop those suckers out.
That's right.
That's awesome. All right, so listen, we're just gonna dive in here and let's get to the meat of your story. You commonly share this business was almost forced on you. You felt like this isn't even something you want to do. Talk to me about that. What was that story? How does that ultimately happen?
Sure. Yeah. I would say, when we first, we've been friends for a long time before this was even like an idea. I think before you were even working at corporate. And we never really had the idea of doing home care. It wasn't like something that I thought about doing. And I guess years into the future, one of our friends ended up buying a location. Started going well, and then another friend decided, hey, this might be a good idea. They bought, and then another one. And so I was like, what the heck is going on here? Let me meet with them and see what the deal is. At the time, I didn't have a long-term idea of what I wanted to do in general. I was planning to take over my dad's business, doing yacht maintenance, but that ended up not really working out.
It definitely felt like a gold rush back then.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, here's the opportunity. Everyone's in on it.
For sure. Yeah. And so we met with you and Frank and kind of got the you guys call it a 10,000 foot view of, home
30.
So sorry, 30,000 foot. It's been
20 more. 20.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah.
So so we kind of like went through that, and me and Christine were like, sounds pretty cool. It seems like it's definitely doable. And I think at the time, Christine was way more like, let's do it. And I was like more like pumping the brakes, thinking like, this is what I'll have to be like, managing it like most of the time.
This is going to be my career.
Right. Yeah. And she was definitely an extreme, like, integral part of starting. But ultimately it was going to be on me, like the day in and day out. So we talked about it, and it just felt like she was consistently wanting it to happen. And I felt like, okay, like I don't really have a career right now, so whatever, let me just do it.
Okay.
Great way to start a company. Yeah,
Whatever.
we're good. Yeah.
And so what's going through your head at this point? You have a business and now you're not sure you want to do it and you feel stuck. What is going through your head?
Yeah. I really don't know if I felt stuck like right away. Obviously, you're just getting a handle on things. Like you're putting all the pieces together. You got your office, you got your system, you're getting some caregivers, and like you're just kind of really starting the business. But I think it came to like a point in between like the 6 and 9 month period where we still weren't getting traction. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Is this like, did I make the right move? And I started having thoughts like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
And, it came to the point where I was like, I felt like I was just kind of like pushed into it by my wife. And, I ended up having to, try and make a decision one way or another if I was going to continue or not.
Well, and I think to paint the picture a little further for the listeners, not only is the business not having traction, but like the intro says, it was funded by credit cards.
Yep.
And at some point, the payment is due on that 0% interest for only a certain period of time.
That's right.
And the idea is, and the benefit of the senior care industry and in our model is, hey, that there's an ability to scale and scale quickly. Other locations nearby that was happening, right? And they're growing.
Yeah,
and
that was part of it.
And you feel like, I mean, you're not. And, the credit card. So how stressful was that, knowing that right around the corner, these payments are due, they're overwhelming, you're in a business you're not comfortable in, you don't even really like it.
Right.
And
I'll paint you a picture of it, because imagine when you take out a credit card, you're usually taking out one credit card, I see this has some good benefits, let me get this credit card. They gave me a limit of 5,000. Great. I took out like 8 credit cards to fund the business between myself and my wife, personal credit cards. So one had $5,000 limit, one had 8, one had 6, another one had 5. It all added up to the amount that I owed to buy the franchise, which was just over at the time, just over
45, I think, 42,
50,
49,
49.5, I think.
Yeah,
something like that.
Sounds right.
So I maxed every credit card out, like completely, that we got. And that was the point, is that the credit cards have 9 months, no interest, 12 months, 15 months was the biggest one that we had, of like the largest amount of time. So all these credit cards were coming due by 6 to 9, like more so 9 months at the bare minimum. So, if anyone knows anything about credit cards, which credit card debt's pretty serious, that if you don't pay that off, you're going to be stuck with the high 20% interest rate on that.
Your minimum is just paying off interest.
Exactly. So that was like a huge thing that was like also looming over my head, is that I funded this just on money I didn't have.
Yeah, so things are slow at this point, at the 6 to 9 month time frame. And yeah, how you're at a crossroads at some point in this journey, and you're thinking like, you probably have a come to Jesus moment with Christine, who's your wife, and us at the corporate office. I know we had lunch a couple times.
Right.
It's like, listen, I don't know if this is for me. How close do you think you really were for,
throwing in the towel?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you how close I was. I met up. Me and Christine met with my therapist, or our therapist, and I kind of was telling her how I was feeling, like how I felt like I was pushed in, and like I know that wasn't like what my wife was trying to do, but it's just I think she really wanted me to be, attached to something that she knew could be a good thing for us and our family. And I felt like I had been resentful for that time, just kind of like I knew I wanted to wait because I didn't know if this was really gonna work out. And basically the therapist was like, I hear everything you're saying. Like, I think we have really like 2 different roads we can take. You can say, hey, like I tried it for 9 months plus now, and it's really not something for me. Or you can say, like, hey, we've kind of been throwing a little bit of a pity party for yourself. You've been giving it maybe 70% at the max because of how you felt about it.
Mm,
What would it look like to give it 100?
mm.
Um, and I decided, we're here now. So I decided to lean in. I was like, you're right. Like, this is not the route of how I wanted to get here, but I'm here now. So let me really, grab it by the horns and see where we can take this ride.
There's something about like almost like out of body experiences or like things that you can just tell are moments that are going to change the trajectory of either your life or your business, because there's a lot of clarity that surrounds those moments.
Right.
And I can tell this is one of them for you because we've had this conversation a handful of times and you're using the exact same words every single time. Like you're giving it 75%. You're throwing yourself a pity party. Are you going to lean into it? Are you going to give it 100%? These are like the exact probably words that were spoken to you that
Right.
somehow settled. Why do you think that was so impactful for you at that moment? Was it just the clarity that you were looking for? What was it that?
Yeah, I think
Because there's probably it's the reason why I ask.
Yeah.
There's probably times that you're talking with whether it be Christine or somebody else, and like, hey man, just give it a little bit more longer time or lean in more or whatever. But for some reason, this moment.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference was that like I had thought about all the different reasons of why I'm like why I'm feeling this way, and like why I can't seem to really give him my all. But I think having someone who's like able to just kind of listen and interpret kind of like what you're saying and how you're feeling and how it's relating to the business and your life and my life with Christine. They kind of are able to help you formulate like, okay, like looks like this is the reason. And it's kind of like almost like an aha moment. Like I kind of felt all those things, but hearing it like said to you is more like, yeah, that's exactly, kind of like, nailed it right on the head.
By someone who's very objective.
Of course, yeah. And someone who knows you very well. I had been going to see my therapist for like what was that, 2020? So probably about 2 years at that point. So like she knows a lot about, who I am and how I operate and how I tick and all these different things. And so she's able to have even more in-depth like idea of how, why it is I'm kind of stuck.
So at this point of your journey, it's kind of a downward spiral, so to speak, right? There's anger, frustration, sadness, disappointment in the realm of taking on this endeavor. Starting your own business is stressful. It's not easy. That's not the way everyone does it. If it was easy, everyone would do it. It's not. You're experiencing all of that burden. Why did you choose at that point, probably at the lowest point, and at probably the point where you had the best opportunity to walk away, almost given the green light to do so? Why at that moment did you not take that route and you chose to lean in and give it 100%, to use your words?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I went to training with corporate, I kind of found like a good reason why I thought I would be good at this, and it was because of my own grandmother. When we were younger, she like lived with us for a long while. She would bring us to school. She would pick us up. She would bring us to our haircuts, doctors, made us breakfast, lunch. Like she was extremely involved when we were young. And when she became older, she then came to live with us when she couldn't live alone. And then I got to take her to her doctor's appointments and her haircuts and things. And I really enjoyed doing so. And I felt like very passionate about caring well for her. And I thought that would translate well to this type of industry where you're caring well for the elderly who need help, for one reason or another. So I felt like, I do have the ability to succeed in this if we can kind of get some things running here. And so once I had the mindset change, I was like, let's give it a little more time. Obviously, if it continued to go south, I think it would just been like, hey, like, unfortunately this didn't work out. But
I'm getting goosebumps talking about this, because when we were doing our pre-podcast meeting, we were talking about this story. And if you remember, you started to look back at your numbers, and you're able to kind of figure out right around when you had that meeting with your therapist. And then you look at the next month and the next month, and your numbers like tripled
Yep.
from the meeting of that therapist. From the next, like, literally 6 months, they were tripling
Right.
of revenue growth. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's a crazy testimony
Right.
that you went through.
Yeah.
What do you think changed besides just the mindset, right? Maybe operationally, maybe something tangible. What changed in the way that you ran your business to allow your business to triple in revenue month after month after month?
Yeah, I think I was just more like the few connections that I may have had, or people who I had serviced for a short amount of time, I made good relationships with. And I got like one of my earliest clients. It was like 2 days a week, 3 hours a day. And I was like not the most excited to start this one, but I was like, okay, we'll do it. And the person who cleaned her home was also a home health aide. And she cleaned other old people's homes, and actually got me my one of my, still to this day, clients that I have.
Wow.
And then that client got me somebody else. And so like, it was kind of like a chain reaction. I think that wouldn't have happened if I didn't start to really go in even on the little small clients. And I think the way I talked on the phone was very different. It was more definitely more animated, more excited, more like, I could sell a lot better on the phone if I was like more passionate about it. And so I think that's one of my strengths. So once I was able to do that, I think that translated as well to, getting more business.
Okay. I first of all, Preferred Care at Home, we're a Christian organization, and we believe that this industry is it's a higher calling. And when you open up a senior home care franchise, you will see God's provision through your operation, just bottom line. True. And I want you to share with the listeners the $8,000 credit card payment due. So this is like month 9 probably. So you started to grow a little bit. Things were trending in the right direction, not at the place, where you need to be, because we're still early on the growth track. You have a credit card payment due. It's $8,000. The money's not there. I'll let you kind of take it away from there.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the $8,000. It was every payment. So that's where I really saw like, wow, like God's timing, along with me going all in. It all came together, because like there were several due at 9 months, several due at 12 months, 15 months, and each time, like literally to the week that these credit cards came due, I had just enough to pay off the ones that were due. And like this largest one was $8,000, and I was like, we're starting to pick up, but not that much. So I don't know what we're gonna do about this one. This one might have to break up or something like that. And that was literally the month where we got our first 24/7 client. And I was like, after that 1 month, I was like, wow, we again just are able to pay for it, which is crazy. I did not see that happening. I was very nervous, because the people who the company that we used to take all these credit cards with, were telling us like, okay, when the credit cards are going to become due, we'll get another one, transfer the balance. And I was like, okay, cool. So we'll have some more time. Didn't happen that way, because I think something happened with the company where like they were not responding.
Like went out of business.
Corporate couldn't get a hold of them. I couldn't get a hold of them. No one could get a hold of them. And we were like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna have to make do. And thankfully, things worked out, and we were able to pay them off without having to spend any interest on them.
And so in a single calendar year, through all these emotions and the lowest points and the high points, You paid off all the credit card?
Just over a year.
Just over a year.
Like,
Which was how much the business was able to pay off in credit card?
like just under 50,000.
Just under 50,000.
Yeah.
So now we're at a place where the business is on an uptick. You're all in. You've leaned in 100%. The business is growing. You're seeing like God's provision. At what point did this business turn for you and became actually fun?
I mean, making money is fun, so that was cool. Obviously, I had never had been in a business like this, so I didn't really know how much we would really be taking home or how it worked based on like we had the numbers, but those are just numbers until they're actually in your bank. So, I think once we paid it off, all the cards, I was like, okay, now I just have to have like, as long as I'm hitting my break even, like, which I was at that point, obviously. I was like, we're good, and I'm making some money, so this is cool. And let's see, let's continue it, onward and upward.
Love it. So it's funny because I can still feel a little bit of the PTSD going on because it took you 2 full years before you made your first hire. And at this point, you're operating probably close to $2 million business, high ones, right? You're 140,000 in monthly revenue roughly before you made your first hire. Why did it take you so long to get some help?
I think I just like did not want to be in a place because the way everyone talks about it when you make a hire typically is like that money, especially in office, they're not really bringing in income. It's not like a marketer where they're bringing in like more business.
Your money that you're
right. Exactly. So the way it works is like you're going up, you hire somebody, you go down for a little bit, then you eventually go up again, and like so on and so forth. And I was like, before I go down at all, I need to have like enough money put away that if I go down for 6 months or so, like that, I won't be like, hey, gotta let you go. It was, fun while it lasted, but I can't afford it anymore. I mean,
but let me lean into that for a second.
Yeah.
So you officially did 2 years into operations, made your first hire, Jovi, who's a rock star for your office, still with you today.
Still with us today.
How did that reshape that mindset? Because how did adding Jovi allow you to continue to grow to even greater heights?
Jovi came on, and even since the interview, she was like telling us about her like experience and what she has done before and what she does now, and how there are certain things that she doesn't know how to exactly do the scheduling, but like she's like really quick learner, and she'll really like put all into it. And so we really liked the like get after it mentality. We wanted someone like that. And once we onboarded her, sure enough, man, she took off. She like was taking care of the recruiting, all of it, the scheduling. She did a lot of the like almost all the phone calls like very shortly after getting hired. She was like, just has been and always will be a rock star for us. And
knowing what you know about Jovi now, would you made that hire a little bit earlier?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if I got another Jovi.
Yeah, but here's I guess here's the crux of the matter is we talk with a lot of owners who probably find themselves in very similar mindsets. Like, man, this business it was hard to get up and running. I went through a lot of obstacles. Now I'm finally making decent income, probably good income actually.
Yeah,
very good income.
Yes.
And so it's like, this is nice. The business is stressful, but I can handle it. Every job is stressful, and I'm getting paid handsomely for it. So
right.
But when you have this help on, quality of life goes up, and then the business can continue to grow.
Yeah.
And so it's a mindset that, is important for all of our entrepreneurs to have. It's like, you can't forget about that entrepreneur spirit of continuing to scale.
Right. And I think that was like difficult for me because I've always been an entrepreneur, man, since I was a kid. I was selling candy bars in middle school. I was did wholesale of electronics. I did everything.
I've waited in one of those lines for you.
Yes, you have.
Forget those iPhones.
Yep. So like I've always wanted to, do something, but it was nothing where I had employees under me. Like, And now that I was in this position where I had these employees, like I wanted to make sure that I was doing it in a way that I could really do it for a long time, and not just kind of like, oh, I can hire them right now, or I have this little bit of cash, and then, if I go down, I have to get rid of them. So I don't think 136, I think is what 136K is what I was at. I don't think anyone has to wait that long. I think probably around the 50.
And you've caught up right now.
Right.
You have 2 in-house office staff, including Jovi, not including yourself,
Right.
and a full-time marketer.
Correct.
You have a healthy size organization that's now operating. So you caught up.
Right. Thankfully.
Yeah. Which is great. All right. So in the beginning of the business, you gave it everything that you had. You scaled it to a pretty large height. Now the goal is maybe to scale back a little bit, and promote individuals inside your office to higher levels to help operate more of the day-to-day. Is it hard for you to do that, to let go of the control and
Of course.
and trust people with things that you're really, really good at?
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely think it's difficult. And I think you hear it said by everybody that no one gives it as much as the owner, because it's that's a part of them. They're the owners of the company. So like your employees will a lot of times, like, they'll work hard, but it's not the same. Thankfully, my employees really take what they do to heart, and they really love the company and love what we stand for. So like they're the few out there that are like really just full, like 100% in on it, and they.
How do you think you got that level of buy-in? Because everyone wants that.
I mean, I feel like I have a little bit more of like a individual relationship with my employees, a little more personal than most owners should, maybe. Even using that terminology, I'm very close with Jovi, always have been. And I think that she sees how much I care about my clients, about my employees, about my in-office employees. I really want the best for them, and they can feel it. And I think that makes a difference between
no shortcuts.
No, definitely not. And I think like if they can feel that, and they really know that you really care for them, and you do things that you show them that you really care, I think that makes a really big difference, rather than just being so like stoic and like, everything has to be, cookie cutter, and like, I think you're human. This is a very caring business, is a very like intimate type of business, and I think that just translates to your office staff as well.
Yeah. Last question for you. And thanks for sharing all this. In the pre-podcast meeting, I asked you what's one thing you would like to leave with all the listeners, and you said if something doesn't feel right, you have to lean into it and fix it. For someone listening to this who's struggling with the business and may want to quit early days, shot up, lost revenue, attrition happened, what does it actually look like to lean in real life?
Yeah, I mean, I think being on an island is not going to help anybody. There's in any system like we have here, like thankfully Preferred Care Home probably does like the best job, I would believe, at like having people who you can call real time. Me being one of them, I've always said like if anyone wants to talk, give them my phone number. I'm happy to like talk through things with people. The people who I surround myself with, like it actually physically, like the territories that are around me, I know them all. We talk fairly often, talking about struggles, talking about what's working, what's not working. And I think being able to do that is necessary. And I think we're even as like a outside the home care space, individuals desire community.
That's right.
And I think when you have something that you are really having a hard time with or struggling with, like talking to somebody about it, I think it will help.
Who gets it? Who
Yeah.
cares about you? Who wants to see you succeed?
Exactly. Yeah. Even if they don't know home care itself, like, my therapist doesn't know home care, but I can still talk with her about things that are that are happening and how it makes me feel, or how I don't understand why I'm feeling one way or another. And I think those are like, there's resources out there that you can use to, get you through the rut or you're in. And
Yeah. From what I take from this is leaning in looks a lot like acknowledging pain, frustration,
Sure.
disappointment, but not leaving it at the acknowledgement phase. Then it's doing something about it and going after connection,
Right.
whether it be people who are in the franchise network, in your community, and even in your business.
Sure.
Because there's real connection going on. There's real clients being serviced, caregivers being paid, office staff being hired that you're contributing to, and feel connected to that as well is important.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting.
No,
what
of
you're
course.
saying.
Yeah. And I would say, like, I don't want it to seem like a Cinderella story where it's like after I had this moment, I was like, everything was roses and like I was doing so well. Like there were still so many things I was having a hard time with, but it was like one step back, two steps forward.
Right.
So like, there's all those, things that were still happening before I met and talked with my therapist. They didn't go away, but I was able then to have a different mindset to like be able to like say like, okay, like I'm falling into this same pattern or the same problem. Like, how can I come at it in a different way? And I think that's what it allowed me to do. Like it didn't change my whole roadmap, but it allowed me to have the tools to continue.
And you've seen success happen in the past, so you know it's possible.
Right.
And so it's like he's done it once before, he's gonna do it again.
Right.
Type deal, and that always helps. I think our well-established owners. It's hard for newer owners sometimes who've never seen the success to be like, is it ever gonna happen to me?
Yeah.
But once you've gotten the little wins under your belt, you know that it's just a matter of time before.
Yeah. And I think it has very little, like, a lot of people talk about location. Like, I think it has very little to do with that as much as that's like a big topic. Like, if you're in the hot spot of where you're at, it doesn't have to be. I'm not in the hottest spot in South Florida. Like, I would say a lot of my cities, you'd be like, where is that?
Right.
So, like, I don't think it has to be, like, the number one location. Like, I think no matter where you're at, there are still so many seniors who need the care. It's about, being able to translate that need into business.
Well, you do an unbelievable job of client services. Your team does a great job of caregiver continuity and connection. And it is a direct correlation on your Google reviews. You have many 5-star Google reviews because you guys provide amazing service. So, and we know happy clients bring in other happy clients. So
yeah,
you guys are doing an amazing job over there. Geoff, I appreciate your time and willingness to share and be on the Inside Voice.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love it.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, hitting that like button really helps the channel grow. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a drop. We're here every other Wednesday at 8 a.m. sharp. See you in the next one.